Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kathy Fulser. I'll be the service leader this morning here at Unity in Naperville, and I cannot tell you how happy I am to be back. And if you know me, I am prepared. You know why I have these. If you are joining us for the first time, either in person, which is amazing, having actual physical human beings in our sanctuary, it's just wonderful, or if you're joining us on the live stream, I just want you to know Unity in Naperville is a beautiful community. We are loving, we are joyous, we are uplifted in spirit, and so I'm thrilled to see you all here. I'm thrilled to have you all on the live stream. It's just wonderful. Our minister is Reverend Kitty Benson. She'll be up here in a moment with a sermon about the power of our words, which I know we'll all want to hear. But as you know, we love to begin our service with music. We uplift our hearts, open our consciousness. We prepare ourselves for the wisdom of spirit. If you're in the sanctuary and you need to sing, come with your mouth closed, please. If you're at home, let loose. Sing, dance, whatever you want to do. So please stand as you're able, and we will be lifted up in song by our wonderful band, Highest Good.
Thanks, Kathy. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Woo.
Definitely dance, even if you can't sing, just dance.
Yes, movement. Love movement. There's a place where I love to run and play. There's a place where I sing new songs of praise. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. There's a place where I lose myself within. There's a place where I find myself again. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. There's a place where religion finally dies. There's a place where I lose my selfish pride. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. And dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. There's a place where I love to run and play. There's a place where I sing new songs of praise. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Woo. All right.
Woo, that feels good.
Yes, it does. I'm awake. You sound so good out there. God, you are.
God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are
Welcome, 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 everybody, welcome. So glad to have y'all back. It's fun to be seeing new faces on Sundays again. I can still see your faces shining. Your light is exploding through the camera, so thank you for sharing that from wherever you are around the world. I'm Kitty Benson, and I am the minister here at Unity, and just joyful to be with you today. So let's take a moment to just turn in to that beautiful center in our heart where we connect with the divine as we acknowledge that we are in that presence of life and love, that presence that is peace and beauty, that presence that is wisdom, understanding, creativity. We thank you, God, for expressing infinitely through our lives. We allow that divine power to shine brightly, to not only touch our own hearts today, but be a light for someone else in the world. It is not our power that does this work, but the one power. And so it is. Amen. Will you help me speak our invocation? The words are up here on the screen. Together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And so it is. You may be seated.
Send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy. Send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my peace over the mountains. Send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me, and it returns to me, and it returns to me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Fun to be here with you. Whitney, thanks for coming and singing for us today. Kim-Char and Cindy taking a much-needed break. So we're grateful to have this time in a way that's always fresh and new, yes? Always things changing in our life, which is okay, right? It's healthy. And I came across somebody online this last probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. Her name is Jovanka Sierras. She has a website, jovankasierras.com, Cieres. And she had heard about an experiment that I too had heard, but she wanted to try it for herself and do it for all of us to see and see what the results were going to be. What she decided to do was take an apple and cut it in half, and she put each half of the apple in a separate jar, identical jars, same lids, but one jar was labeled good apple, and one jar was labeled bad apple. And every day for 21 days, she would take the lid off the jar, and on the good apple jar, she would speak to the apple and say what wonderful things it is, and she would speak to the bad apple in a different way. So let's take a look at the video, and then we'll talk some more about it.
Beautiful apple, you are so wonderful. You are talented and so awesome and full of energy and beautiful and smart and capable. I can't wait to be your friend. You are awesome. I love you. You suck. I mean, you're not even that smart. I don't even know why you even try. It's really, you should just give up and stop trying. You're no good. And you don't even smell that good, so stop it. Okay, so we already talked to our apples. We're just gonna close this jar to prevent oxygen from getting in and rotting it more than it will. And we also close our bad apple, and we're just going to put this in the windowsill. These are the apples right here. There's the good apple and the bad apple. Every day we're going to be saying bad things to the bad apple and good things to the good apple. We're going to monitor this for 21 days and see what happens. So I just took out my apples from the bad apple jar and the good apple jar. And as you can see, this is amazing. Even for the most skeptical ones out there, you have to admit that this is, and I have to admit, I was one of those that was a little skeptical. And I am in awe at what I'm seeing right now.
Right now, holy cow. Now, some of you have probably seen a similar experiment done. As a matter of fact, years and years and years and years ago here in Unity, I talked to you about Dr. Masaru Emoto, who I think was probably the first one to try this type of experiment using water. And he put water in different containers, and he labeled each container with different types of words. Up here on the screen, you can kind of see, let's go to that next slide. He froze the water after putting them in little containers and labeling the containers. So up in the top left corner, it says compassion. He'd taken some water, put it in a container, labeled it with compassion, froze the water, and then examined it after sitting for a while with that word compassion on the container. He looked at the water crystal under a microscope and saw this beautiful, organized, crystalline figure. And then he had another container that had been listening to heavy metal music while it was in the container and frozen. And this is the way at the bottom left corner, this chaotic, disordered, kind of ugly crystallized form. And you can just kind of see across the screen all the positive words, thank you, wisdom, a Buddhist prayer. But before the Buddhist prayer, or with words like you fool, I will kill you, you can see the crystals are a mess, yes? And this is something that when people started paying attention to the experiment, what they started thinking was how much our body is made up of water. We have a doctor in the room. Do you know the percentage of how much our body is water? 70% of our body is made out of water, and look what our words can do to those molecules. It's something that we want to not only notice what we say about our body or to our body, on a regular basis, but basically just what we say about ourselves. You know, when she was talking to the bad apple, did you hear the things that she was saying? Those are the kind of things that we say to ourselves, yes, regularly. And the body is listening, the being is listening, the self is listening to those kind of words. Think about what Jovanka was saying. We've probably implanted those ideas in our own mind. And how many times have we come away from that kind of inner conversation feeling bad about ourselves? You know, I don't know about you, but almost every time I hear about some heinous crime that's been committed, I want to know who that person was. I want to try and understand that person and figure out what caused them to do that. Oftentimes, they'll do the, looking in, exploring to that person's background, childhood, and oftentimes what they find is a child who received negative impressions in their life, where they were either left to raise themselves, or they received no love, or they received abuse in some way. And I just wonder if those words didn't carry forward into their behavior as they became an adult. The same story often comes with people who commit suicide. That when you look back at their early years of life, they never received those uplifting words. They received negative words about themselves. How many times do we actually use harsh words about someone else? And not only are we sending out negative energy into the world, but we actually think we can separate ourselves from those words so that they don't affect us. I think we're wrong about that. I think that we can see that our words have the power to really affect us first and foremost. And this is what I think Jesus was trying to get across. Up here on the screen, he says in Matthew 15, it's not what goes into the mouth, and he was talking about how Jews were arguing about dietary restrictions, about what they should or shouldn't eat. He's saying it's not what goes into the mouth that defiles a person, but what comes out of the mouth, the words that we speak that defiles. And clear back thousands of years ago in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, what you say can preserve life or destroy it. We saw it with that apple, right? What you say can preserve life or destroy it, so you must accept the consequences of your words. And that's what I want to talk about today, is the power of our words. And before we can actually talk about the power of our words, we have to talk about the power of the Word. And the Word is written about in the book of John, chapter 1. It says here on the screen, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Everything came into being through the Word. Think about that the universe came into being through the Word. Now, we speak of God with many different labels. Not as a being that does things for us, but is things. Like God is the life in our body, that God is the wisdom in our hearts and the love in our hearts, that God is the light that we experience when we are connected to that divine mind. Now we can also apply the idea that God is the Word. You know, when it was written about in the Scripture, the Greeks used logos as a definition, and we associate that with creative power. The Word is creative power. God is creative power. The Word and God are creative power. And that creative power begins and really is active only by forming divine ideas. We talk about that as the realm of divine mind is a realm, an infinite realm of divine ideas. And these divine ideas are perfectly formed. All the details are included that are needed to be whole and complete. And then at some point, those divine ideas go from the divine mind into our consciousness, where we have the chance to put that creative word into manifestation in our life. It just depends on how our words align with the Word. So let's start by knowing that the creative power of the Word is ready to reveal itself in infinite ways, but it associates with our words for it to manifest in our life. So first of all, can we just take a moment to think that our words don't generate themselves? Now, I could argue with myself on that because I have found myself actually saying things that I said, where did that come from? Have you ever done that? It just kind of pops up out of you, but I promise you that those words don't generate themselves. They actually are generated by our consciousness. And our consciousness lives at different levels. There's, ideally, the way this would work is that we join our consciousness with the highest level of consciousness. You might call it the super consciousness or the Christ mind or the divine mind. And if we are able to connect with that level of consciousness, then we have access to these beautiful divine ideas that allow our life to manifest in a healthy way. That's the way that our words are supposed to be working. And we must attend to that with our consciousness. So it's similar to what was written in the book of Psalms. This is from chapter 19 up here on the screen. It says, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, O Lord." Now, if I were to translate that metaphysically, I would say up here on the screen, "Let the words of my mouth and the beliefs of my subconscious be aligned with divine mind." Can you see how that translates? Let the words of my mouth and the beliefs of my subconscious be aligned with divine mind. If that were only so all of the time. However, another thing that psychology and science are coming together on is they are saying that 95% of what we do, including the words coming out of our mouth, are coming from the subconscious level. That part of ourself that really doesn't know the difference between right and wrong, good or bad, doesn't know whether what you're experiencing with your conscious mind is something that's that they want or don't want. The subconscious doesn't care. It just takes what gets past the gatekeeper of the conscious mind, and it sinks down into that repository, and then it just keeps popping back out. So in those moments where we say, where did that come from? We say, well, a year ago, I let that in with my conscious mind. I gave it some attention and some power, and it dropped down into my subconscious mind, and it just hung out there until it saw a catalyst of some kind, calling it back up again. So thoughts, feelings, beliefs, words, anything that gets past the gatekeeper goes in there, winds up in that lower level of consciousness like memories and habits and fears and beliefs, and then it shows itself up again. So why don't you just think back over the last 24 hours and think about what you've been talking about the last week or the last month? What have you been talking about? Review your words and notice what's coming up out of that subconscious, because that's going to tell you what's in there. And most often, it's going to be the same as something else you've already said. We rarely say anything new. I stand up here with you every Sunday, and I rarely say anything new, right? Truth is truth is truth is truth. But for the most part, the reason we don't say anything new is because 95% of what we say comes out of the repeating pattern in the subconscious. So it gives you an idea where this stuff is coming from, and you can start to notice what energy is coming with those words when you speak them. How do they feel when they come out of your mouth? Because if these words come out and you feel hopeless, helpless, doubting, worried, fearful, angry, critical, any of those energies, then just think about that energy associated with your consciousness, and then think about the apple. When those words come out of us, and they feel heavy or fearful, what is it? How is it relating to our being? Think about the water. Are we creating perfect, beautiful, intricate patterns in our life, or are we creating chaos with our words? It's important to understand that words are not magic. As a matter of fact, words in themselves have no power. It's the consciousness behind the words that generate. You can even stop saying negative words, but as long as you're still holding the belief in your subconscious about what you decided not to say, you're still generating that energy into your body and out into your world. You're still radiating and attracting, radiating and attracting. So the energy of the words that we speak is actually coming from the consciousness that generates it. Here on the screen, let's look at what Jesus said in Matthew 5. He said, "You've heard it said, 'You shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be liable to judgment.' But I say to you that if you're angry with a brother or sister, you're just angry, just mad, just ticked off with a brother or sister, you will be liable to judgment. Doesn't matter whether it's an actual act, words spoken aloud, or it's a thought, it's an energy, it's a level of consciousness. Harmful words represent harmful beliefs, and as we remember, Jesus told us that it will be done to us as we believe. So how often, just pay attention to what's happening with your words. How often do you talk about them or that? Giving your power to that, assuming that they can take your good from you. How often do you talk about how you are a victim and helpless and you can't make it any better? And realize in that moment that what we're doing is we're using our words to establish a second power in the universe against us. When all the while, what we teach here in Unity anyway is God is the only power, the one presence in our life. And it can only express its good through our life if our words agree, if our beliefs associated with those words agree. But how many times do we misuse the words that come out of our mouth? I try to teach regularly an affirmative prayer class. I just did one this past week. And it's possible for us to speak affirmatively in our prayers and then still, I don't know about you, but I could literally wake up in the morning and affirm, today is a day filled with light and my heart is filled with love. And by 3 o'clock, I am cursing someone or blaming someone or worried about something or confused about something, and my words are contradicting what my prayer was that morning. So it's kind of like driving with your foot on the brake. And the universe doesn't know what to do with that. It can't really help you, your affirmative prayer, if you're going to contradict it later in the day. So just notice how often you're doing that with your words. And as you're speaking harsh words to someone, and how many times have we said something nasty to someone and then said, I didn't mean that. I kind of think that word, that belief, that phrase that you used with that person didn't get into that subconscious by itself. It's associated with some form of belief. And as Jesus said in Luke chapter 8, up here on the screen, for nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed, nor is anything secret that will not become known and come to light. Sooner or later, your words are going to betray what you really hold in consciousness. So let's just say that when those words do come out and we regret them, just say, okay, it's an opportunity to reveal in the light and heal in the light. It's an opportunity to take what's down there in the darkness of our subconscious basement and shine a conscious light on it and start paying attention to the words that we're using. Treat them like a flag. Every time you find yourself saying things you regret or talking about things you don't really want in your life, then just take a moment and say, okay, this is a little red flag for me. It's an opportunity to heal or transform whatever it is that I've got stored in there that is trying to make a decision for me. It's where we get a chance to use our power of will and choose new words. I have a story from Florence Scovel-Shinn, who's an oldie but goodie Unity writer, and she's written several books, but this one comes from The Game of Life and How to Play It. She said, after a woman knows that, and by the way, she took her original book and wrote it for women, so instead of he or she, it says woman all the time. Okay, but applies to all you men, just saying, all you men, yeah. After a woman knows the truth, she cannot be too careful of her words. For example, I have a friend who often says on the phone, do come to see me and have an old-fashioned chat. This old-fashioned chat means an hour of about 500 to 1,000 destructive words. The principal topics being loss, lack, failure, and sickness. I reply, no, I thank you, but I've had enough old-fashioned chats in my life. They're too expensive. Just think about that, too expensive. But I will be glad to have a new-fashioned chat and talk about what we want, not what we don't want. She said there's an old saying that a woman only dares use her words. Let me say that again. There's an old saying that a person only dares use their words for 3 purposes: to heal, bless, or prosper. That sounds good, doesn't it? That's how we use our words: to heal, to bless, to prosper. What a person says of others will be said of themselves, and what they wish for another, they are wishing for themselves. Mindful. We have to be mindful. So, think about changing your languaging to talk more about what you would like to see manifest. what you would like to see come to pass in your life. And I'm not saying you can't talk about the fact that something happened, I got fired, that's a big deal. I, broke up with my partner, that's a big deal. I got a diagnosis from my doctor, that's a big deal. However, let's see if we can not use our words to promote the suffering of that particular fact. That instead of letting our words just drag us down into that darkness, where, remember the apple, remember the water, we can start to use our words. Instead of predicting the worst about our future, we can start to use our words to say what it is that we want. That's where our power of imagination comes in, and we can use our words to talk about the vision that we hold for our life. It's a whole lot more fun if you try it, I promise you, talking about what you want and the vision that you have for your future. If it's aligned with spirit, is going to feel a whole lot more better and be a whole lot more productive. If we will simply remember, words don't make it true, but the words that we speak remind us of what's true. And the reason that it's true is because the words that we speak that are of light are of God, and that's always true. So that's where we're headed here, is to speak words first aligned with truth. Remember when I said from Psalms 19, where I kind of retranslated it up here on the screen, let the words of my mouth and the beliefs of my subconscious be aligned with you, divine mind. Focus on things like love and life and wisdom, other creative qualities of God, just the fact that God is everywhere present, supplying our every need, that every cell in our body is an expression of divine life, focusing on just the joy of life and the peace of God's heart. These are ideas, divine ideas, that when we focus on them and truly start to establish an understanding of God and how the universe works, then our words take on true power. That's when we can really start creating with our words. And it's what I think Jesus meant from John chapter 15. He said, if you abide in me, and my words abide in you, ask whatever you will, and it shall be done for you. So how do we abide in that word? We focus on that one presence and power. When we do the unity prayer class, we talk about a 5-step process, and the first 2 steps are just as important as talking about the thing that you want. The first 2 steps are begin with God and include yourself. Begin by being aware that there is only one presence, its nature is good, it wants good for you. And secondly, when you include yourself, you say, that presence and I are one. And when we start to establish that really there's no power working against us, and God is infinite good, so what's the problem? There is no problem. You establish yourself in that, and then you just start to manifest according to how you use your words and associate with the creative word power. God is the only presence and power in my life. God is only good, and I am in God, and God lives through me. So something that Eric Butterworth wrote, who is a unity minister, passed a few years back, but wrote a book called Practical Metaphysics. And he said, no matter what else you may be required to say, let something good be said. Let something of the God principle, something of the creative logos, something of the one be articulated so that you can keep your flow and stay related and in focus with this divine process. God principle is basically the creative word, the creative power is seeking to express itself, and its nature is good. Let me speak about that first and foremost. That's that part about seeking the kingdom first. There is a divine mind counterpart in you, in your levels of consciousness, that always knows what you need before you ask, that always sees where is best for you to go and always knows the truth about you. And when Jesus really grabbed hold of that, he started speaking that way when he said, the words that I speak are not my words, but the words of him who sent me. And he was trying to get across that there is a higher consciousness that if we allow it to speak through us, then we can begin to line up with it and become it. He started to live into that when he said, I am the way and the truth and the life. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. He was speaking God words, and then he became the expression of that. So before we start speaking, can we just turn within and listen to what that divine mind is saying within us about whatever situation it is that we're facing, and let something good of God be said. And from there, our words that follow will take on amazing creative power, and it's what will join our subconscious mind with the spiritual consciousness so that we truly can experience that which is filled with life. Like the situation may appear to be limiting, but with God as my source, nothing can keep me from my good. That's an example of joining your consciousness with the higher consciousness. Starting there, and then what follows will be good. This is the power of the creative word at work in our lives, but first we line up with it. So next week we're going to talk about the creative power of our words. But for this week, I want you to do a few things. We've got some homework for you up here on the screen. Let's take a look. First of all, before you speak, listen. Listen for the word. Listen for some divine ideas that Spirit might have in store for you. And before you speak, next one, please, stop the negativity in its tracks. You know, the cliches that automatically want to pop out because of our subconscious mind. Stop them before they come out. It's an opportunity to catch the profanity before you say it. It's an opportunity to withhold the outer judgment, and then you have to work on the inner judgment, right? It's not enough just to stop the judging out loud. We also have to work on where it's coming from. And then third, let something good be said. No matter what the circumstances, if your only good thing to be said in this moment is God is in this, that's enough. God is in this. And then you get to meditate on what God is, and you'll find it's everything. It's all that you need because God is in this. And from there, you want to start speaking of the conditions that you'd like to see happen. Start talking about those visions that you have for the health in your body, for the flow in your finances, for the love in your relationships. Start speaking about what you want to see in the world instead of what you do see in the world. What you want to see in the world instead of what you do see in the world. And then always seek first the inner kingdom. Remember, that presence of Spirit is right there with you in the darkest moments. Up here on the screen, there's some statements. Let's put those up there for us, Paul. Okay, I want you to speak these aloud with me, please. These are all ways to get your subconscious to associate connection with your higher consciousness as Jesus did. So let's say these together. I am conscious of divine intelligence. I have direct knowledge of truth. I have perfect intuition, and I have spiritual perception. Let's say the last one. I have spiritual perception. Let's take some time in the quiet and see if we can let some of these ideas sink in. Actually, it's good to know that these ideas are already in us. Just need to merge the levels, need to bring the high and the low together. So let's take a moment to close our eyes. We practice meditation to change what's in the subconscious and also to make our thoughts available to what's in the superconscious. So we allow our body to get out of the way by relaxing it, taking deep breaths. Feeling our shoulders relax, the tension in your jaw, the tips of your toes relaxing. Imagine that your toes are like little streams of water flowing outward. And with this relaxed feeling in our bodies, we allow our thoughts to turn to our heart. The mind may want to interfere with things to do today or things that are distracting you. we use our power of will to choose a new thought. Let something good be said in your mind. I am the wisdom of God. God thoughts are my thoughts. I know what I need to do. I am the love of God. I see the good of God in all beings. I am the peace of God. God is the only power working in my life, and I rest in the knowing that all is well. As I return to my day, I bring with me a knowing that wherever I am, God is. Wherever a question resides, the answer dwells within me. Wherever a need arises, God is supply. We thank you, Spirit, that we are always, always supported, always an expression of that which is only good. So it is. Now I allow it to be. Amen.
Thank you, Kitty. Beautiful. We have come to the time in our service when we share in our tithes and our love offerings. And I feel resonating. I feel resonating within me. God is in this. God is in our giving. God is in our receiving. We give to God. We give from God. And from that place, I thank you for your support of your Unity community. If you're in the sanctuary, we will not be passing the offering basket. There will be a basket as you exit. You're welcome to contribute in that way. If you're online, whether you're on the live stream or Facebook Live, there's a donation button. You can give securely online. You're also welcome to mail a check to us. The address is on the screen. Unity in Naperville, P.O. Box 9733, Naperville, Illinois 60567. Thank you.
so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Speaking of being blessed, we are so blessed to have our old friend Whitney back with us. Thank you, Whitney. Now, of course, Whitney's not old. Our friendship with Whitney is deep and enduring and goes way back. So thank you, Whitney. Thanks for being with us. Let's have some announcements. Dun-dun-dun. Okay, well, no drum roll. I'll do the drum roll. If you are joining us for the first time, I want to welcome you. As I said, we are a joyful, loving community. I'm sure that even on the live stream on Facebook Live, you just felt that energy. I hope that you did. And I hope that as you feel safe and as you feel ready, you come and you join us in person. We'll just be thrilled to see you. If you have questions or you want to receive weekly updates, every Tuesday morning, you can sign up for our weekly e-news at unityinnaperville.org, or you can email admin@unityinnaperville.org, and we'll sign you up for our weekly newsletter. There's always great stuff going on here. So what is happening this week? First thing is, this is our styrofoam drop-off week. If you will drop it off in the classroom, we will take it to the DART Container Center in North Aurora, and they will process it into other products. And as a reminder, please wash containers. They take only styrofoam. They don't take packing peanuts or that kind of packing foam. So thank you for that. Every Tuesday and Thursday at noon. Now, Kim-Char and Cindy are taking some time off. Are we doing lunch online this week? I'm going to say yes. Parker's nodding yes. Okay. So for the entire year that we have been locked down, our fantastic team, Cindy, Kim-Char, Parker, have been having lunch online Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon. Come, make your lunch, don't have lunch, just turn on your camera, chat, stay for 5 minutes, stay for an hour. It's a great way to stay connected with your Unity friends. So what you will do is go to the unitycommunityconnect.com link and then select the Lunch Together online channel and click the link to join the Zoom call. This Wednesday, please join Reverend Kitty and our own Sharon Jebsky for our 7 p.m. Central Time healing service. The service will include an inspiring discussion, peaceful music, quiet meditation, healing affirmations, and will be followed by a time of prayer for your healing prayer request. If you have a prayer request, please email it to prayer, P-R-A-Y-E-R, prayer@unityinnaperville.org prior to 5 p.m. on Wednesday. You can view the service at Unity in Naperville's live stream page or on the Unity in Naperville Facebook page. This Saturday, join Courageous Writers, 10 a.m. Central Time. To join, go to unitycommunityconnect.com. You'll get used to that link. Select the Courageous Writers channel and click the link to join the Zoom call. It's a great way to share your talents, to have fun, to explore. You don't have to feel like you're a writer. If you can put a pen on paper, if you can type words into a keyboard, then you're a writer. So join. It's a wonderful time.
It's great.
Says
Yes.
Kevin. Kevin says, yes, it is.
It's great. Yes, I need to go.
Thanks, Kevin. Save the date for our membership class this Saturday. Oh, sorry, not this Saturday. Saturday, May 15th at 9:30 a.m. There'll be more information about that in the event calendar at unityinnaperville.org, and more information about all of our other upcoming events at Unity. Also, our Board of Trustees is looking for new members. If you love your Unity community, and I know you do, and if you want to be a part of future planning and our well-being into the future, please consider joining the board. We would love your time and your talents. For more information, you can email revkitty@unityinnaperville.org, or you can speak with her after the service if you're here. More? Sorry, I don't have these memorized. This week, submit a 30 to 60-second video. You'll share a lesson that you learned from your mom for our May 9th Mother's Day service. That sounds wonderful. So go to unityinnaperville.org for more information and to upload your video. The deadline for submissions is May 3rd. And as a reminder, we do have one-on-one prayer support. After today's service, our prayer chaplains are on call. So what you will do is email your name and your phone number to prayer@unityinnaperville.org, and a prayer chaplain will call you by 1 p.m. I also wanted to remind you that if you want to attend the service in person, and we are just happy to have everyone within our limits who wants to join us in person, just check on the Fridays before the service. What we've been saying is come once a month just to give everybody room to get in. But it turns out we have room. People are being very cautious, and thank you for that. But as soon as you feel comfortable, you feel safe, come on back. If you've come more than once in that month, just check on Friday. If there's space for you to register and come on in. It's so great to see actual live faces here in the sanctuary. And I do want to remind those of you in the sanctuary, I know we love each other and we want to hug each other and be together, but after the service, please quickly move outside. An usher will be there to escort you or be behind you and gently move you in that direction. So let's go outside. It's a beautiful day. We'll go outside and socialize 6 feet apart with our masks on, being safe, but let's move out of the sanctuary for that. And I think that's everything. Okay, well, let's have one final song, and thank you again, Whitney, and everybody have a wonderful week. Bless you.
Yes, thank you, Whitney. Thank you, Kathy. Day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, 3 things I pray. To see Thee more clearly, love Thee more dearly, follow Thee more nearly, day by day. Day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, 3 things I pray. To see Thee more clearly, love Thee more dearly, follow Thee more nearly, day by day. Day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, 3 things I pray. See Thee more clearly, love Thee more dearly, follow Thee more nearly, day by day. Day by day by day by day by day.
Okay, I'm back. Hey, thanks everybody for being here with us again today. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Looking forward to seeing not old faces. I think we learned that lesson, right? Not old faces, just old friends. Back again, will you please? We normally would be doing some chat after the service here and taking your texts and comments online. But I think what I'd like to do today is I'm going to hang out with some of our friends here, and then I'm going to meet you in the Zoom room. So give me, another 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll meet you online at unitycommunityconnect.com and go into the live stream chat channel where we can talk more and see each other's faces. Here is our closing affirmation for today. Here it comes, any minute now. There it is. Hey, I just got to tell you, see that photograph kind of behind? And the one that I used all during my message that said the power of words? Do you remember how vibrant that was? Those are actually the inside of rocks. That's the inside of a rock. Is that not amazing? Yeah, just think about that power that created that beautiful thing. All right, let's speak these words together. Life and death are in the power of my words, so I choose words of life. Yes, let that be the truth for you this week. And see how we do. Come back next week and we'll come up with some more fun ideas about how we could be talking and creating a life that we really want. I look forward to seeing you guys out there and seeing you guys online. And was there anything else I'm supposed to be saying? We're all good? We're all good? Thanks, band. Thanks, techies. Thanks, everybody. See you next time. Mwah. I'll meet you guys outdoors.